Season 9 of Selling Sunset was quite the doozy. In case you're new, this is the show about the real estate agents of the Oppenheim Group, operated by Jason and Brett here in Los Angeles. West Hollywood, to be exact. Now, throughout these seasons of Selling Sunset, we've seen friendships come together, fall apart. We done seen the marriages, we done seen the divorces. And in my opinion, it's one of those shows that's kind of like, once you're into it and you kind of like find a character that you love, you are locked in. Now, when it comes to season 9 specifically, it was kind of explosive. We had firings, flowers, friendship, shaking. So I'm going to take a look back at the season and go over the good, the bad, and the ugly. Who did their jobs and who just did the most? Now, if you're new here and you like this reality TV, entertainment, pop culture kind of content, hit the subscribe button and ring that notification bell so that you're in the loop when I upload a new video. Now, I'm Court and I'm calling it. Let's get into it. Now, before we start moving into the story of Selling Sunset Season 9, let's have a little refresher on our characters. We've got our girl Chrishell. Chrishell is our North Star, and she's the protagonist of the show. Now, the franchise starts off with Chrishell being the newest agent in the O group, and it kind of shows how her journey unfolds from there. We have Emma, who is Chrishell's best friend. She's a boss businesswoman, but she wants to find love, and she wants to have a family. We have Chelsea, who's recently divorced, and she's on the other side of things, stronger and with an even bigger appetite to be successful in her career, which I love to watch. We have Mary, and Mary is one of the OGs of the O group, and she's kind of a bit overwhelmed this season, and we're gonna get into that a little bit later. We have Amanda, who's another one of the OGs, and she's kind of been around the O group for a while. She's friends with Mary and Nicole, and I love Amanda because it doesn't really matter whether it benefits her in the moment or not. Amanda's gonna keep it real. She's gonna do what she wants, and she doesn't really back down from telling her truth. Bree has a child with Nick Cannon, and after being in the center of the big drama last season where she was spilling the beans on Chelsea's divorce, she's just trying to get through the season without getting dragged, it seems like. And then we have our newest agent, Sandra Vergara, and one thing you want to remember is that she's an ex-journalist. Let's put a pin in that. Now that you know our Selling Sunset dolls, let's roll into these episodes. Okay, so when it comes to episode 1, we open on our power trio, Emma, Chrishell, and Chelsea. They're touring a home. We're catching up with the girlies. Chelsea is in a positive space. She's a lot brighter, and she's lighter post-divorce. She's let go of this dead weight and she's in a new chapter. So we're rooting for her and we're happy. On the flip side of that, the girls are also discussing how they still don't like Nicole because last season, Nicole spread this ugly rumor about Emma that she was in an affair with someone else's husband, and it was a whole entire thing. Instead of actually bringing it to Emma on camera, she brings it up at like this group dinner, and Amanda tries to stop her, and then she brings it up to Bree near, I believe, the end of the last season. And so Emma never really has a chance to defend herself, and they're still harboring the negative feelings from that. Now we cut to the office and we have Mary, Amanda, Alana, and Nicole, and the boys are kind of like, what is going on with the sales? And the girls are never really around the office, which is kind of fair. No one really wants to be in the same room with each other because there's all of this beef. So there's kind of like two separate factions at the O group right now. In a confessional, Nicole reveals that she hasn't really heard from Mary in a while and it's kind of bothering her. And then Amanda and Nicole kind of have a conversation, and Amanda's kind of wondering why Nicole even brought the rumor to camera in the first place, especially when Amanda was trying to give her the shh last season about bringing it up in the first place. Like, Nicole had several times to not spill the rumor on camera, and she chose to do so anyway. Nicole never really had a chance to explain herself to Emma on camera, so she says that she wants to have this one-on-one, but it has to be a one-on-one. She doesn't want to have this talk with Emma with Chrishell there or Chelsea there, all these other parties getting involved and sort of muddying the waters on perception of the situation. We meet up with Chrishell and Mary for cute glittery drinks, and the point of this meeting is for Chrishell to sort of be clear about where she stands with Bree, right? So last season, Chrishell was kind of giving Bree the benefit of the doubt when it came to the revealing of Chelsea's divorce on camera. So if you guys don't remember, Bree had a friend that she brought on camera, and the friend said that she saw Chelsea's husband cheating, and it unraveled into this whole entire drama with people choosing sides on the basis of Bree was being messy or Bree was being a girl's girl, essentially. And I can only assume that after Chrishell watched last season back, she felt as though Bree had a bigger part than she was portraying while they were filming. And so she uses this scene to sort of express to Mary that, you know, Bree is over there and I'm over here, and I'm good on that because Chelsea is my best friend. And when you a loyal girly like Chrishell, you're gonna say, Bree, you was cool, we was cool, but right now we're not in a friendly space. and it just is what it is. Now we meet up with Emma and Nicole at Casita in Sherman Oaks. I know this restaurant very well, so I was kind of gagged to see that this, I guess, infamous sit down with Nicole and Emma was taking place at Casita. During this meeting with Nicole and Emma, Nicole is like, listen, girl, it was Jason and Brett's first cousin Jennifer that told me that you were having an affair with her friend's husband. And in case you think that Nicole is lying, production even tosses her a doggy bone and we get a flashback and we see Jennifer, the first cousin, on camera and she's telling Nicole the tea. And I'll be fair, Nicole is kind of like not immediately believing it in the moment. She's using phrasing like, oh wow, that's crazy if that happened. Wow, if that's true, that's crazy if it's true. Which to me, in that moment is kind of giving, well, maybe she didn't believe it all the way. But now my question is, Nicole, how did we get from if it's true to, girl, well, I'm going to bring it up at dinner last season. I'm going to bring it up to Miss Bree on camera. So now this is two different instances where Nicole is perpetuating this image that Emma is the husband stealer. So Emma is saying to Nicole, girl, you don't even have the full tea. You didn't even come and talk to me because this is how it went down. The man was trying to invest in my company. Emma has an empanada business. Apparently, they're very popular. Shout out to Emma and the empanadas. Go ahead, girl. The man wanted to invest in her company and I guess maybe find a property or something like that. And so Emma turned down the investment, but she agreed to help him find a property. And once the man was giving the signal, or maybe he verbalized, it wasn't very exactly clear in the scene. Once he initiated that he wanted something more, Emma is saying, girl, I shut it down. So your tea is stale. Your tea is cold. You have you're all up in the fruit salad and don't even know if it's citrus in there or not. Nicole, you're all twisted up in the game and you don't even know what's going on here. So, we were looking for a resolution in this scene, but in the end, both ladies kind of decide to agree to disagree. And rightfully so, I think. Now, as someone that's been on reality TV before, can I just tell y'all what I would have done? This is what I would have done if I were Nicole, because I feel like if you really don't use your brain and your common sense and really think before you move on reality TV, you're gonna wind up looking crazy. I used my brain and I still wound up looking crazy on reality TV. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. If I was Nicole, this is what I would have done when Jennifer, Jason and Brett's first cousin, would have come to me with this alleged tea, because I think we still don't know whether this is true or not. We're going on the belief that, Emma didn't do this, right? So let's say I'm Nicole and Jennifer is like, ooh, this is what happened to Emma, XYZ. Now, I still would have went with, Nicole gets a check for me because she says a lot of phrasing like, oh, if this is true, this is crazy. If this is true, if this is true, if this is true. Now, because Chrishell has been on my neck since the moment I walked in the door, Nicole and Chrishell have had friction since day one. Any little thing Nicole do or Chrishell do is like dynamite. It explodes up in the scene. They're cursing each other out. Names is being called, this, that, and the third. So in order to avoid another scene where the internet is laughing at me because Chrishell done dragged me or called me something crazy, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to figure out a way to involve myself in an event, because it's not out of the realm of possibility that the Selling Sunset girls will throw an event just to throw an event, open house, Botox and burgers. They throw all types of stuff throughout the season. If I were Nicole, I would have found one of these events, made sure Emma was going to be there, and made sure Jennifer, Jason and Brett's first cousin, would have also been there. And then I think in front of the group, right? Because we don't want the show to be stale. We don't want the show to be boring. We don't want that. I think I would have had Jennifer show up and in the midst of a group moment on a good rooftop too. They love a good mansion with a view. I think in front of the group, I would have been like, okay, so Emma, I heard this rumor about you and I didn't want it to go around the office. So I brought the person that brought up the rumor. Apparently she approached you and you were white as a ghost. So let's just clear this up once and for all. Are you lying on Jason and Brett's first cousin? Because that's how sometimes you got to spin stuff. Nicole wasn't spinning. Her frisbee wasn't turning in the air. Nicole, your light bulb wasn't turning on, girl. You could have got out of that and wound up looking like the hero and maybe potentially a inkling would have got a point with Emma. Because then at that point, no matter what happened, no matter what the outcome could have been, Nicole could have came back at Emma and said, well, girl, I could have just told the group without even confronting you about it and let it blow up on the show. Now Nicole is the good guy. See, Nicole, you wasn't thinking, my sister. You wasn't thinking, young. You wasn't thinking, young. Hoo-wee. Nicole, her thinking cap wasn't on. Episode 2 is one of the biggest episodes in this season, and I really can't wait to get your thoughts on it. I feel like it's a very polarizing event, and I'm seeing lots of different opinions online on both sides. So let's just dig in. Now, before we get into it, I do want to mention a few things first. Bree's chocolate wig in this episode ate. Oh my God, Bree looks so good in this episode. And if you disagree, it's okay. Put your hater hat on. That you got to put your hater hat on because Bree looked good. This is probably the best Bree ever looked since she stepped on the scene on this show. And that's not me being shady. I just think that hair, it just really did something for me. The skin, she looked great. Shout out to Bree on that. So essentially, Emma updates Chrishell that there's no headway with Nicole. Jason, Bree, and Mary meet up at a home to check it out since they're co-listing, I think. And Jason is mentioning that he wants to eliminate the friction in the office. They discuss the office drama. Mary doesn't really know what to say. Bree hasn't really spoken to Chelsea or Emma or Chrishell since Chelsea's divorce. And if you know anything about Bree, Bree is not the type to be on camera giving you a cry or a boo-hoo or I'm a victim moment. It's very rare, few and far between. If you remember a specific moment, please leave it in the comments. But Bree is very tough. On the exterior, guarded, it kind of comes off. So, Chrishell picking a side was no surprise to Bree. Very much lone wolf energy. None of them at the office could like Bree, and Bree would still show up to set. She would still sign that contract and be on every season. And I think that if you dislike Bree as a character, I think that that's something admirable, that she really is comfortable standing in her own. We'll give her that. Bree also mentions that she didn't realize that she would lose so many friendships in the office by coming forth with the information that, Chelsea's husband was cheating on camera. Now, I think outside of the show, this information was something that was found out off camera and then brought to camera. It's very complicated and complex, that situation, when you think about the fourth wall of it all, because there are things that happen in real life that affect the show, things that happen on the show that affect real life. Very, very, very tricky situation. And so Bree kind of feels like she was damned if she did and damned if she didn't. I don't know. I just think there would have been a better way for Bree to bring that information to camera if that's something that production agreed on. I think in the final edit, it just didn't look good. Maybe Bree had positive intent. As a fan watching the show and going by the context of the show, it didn't look that way. Meanwhile, we got Chrishell over here trying to sell JoJo Siwa's house, y'all. JoJo got the whole house covered in grass, turf, and Lisa Vanderpump rhinestones, and it's very imaginative and very gaudy. And I liked the scene. I think that I enjoy seeing a lot of the homes on Selling Sunset, but I do enjoy watching the agents interact with the people as well. Specifically for me, as the gay black guy, I enjoy the fact that JoJo Siwa has someone in the community. Whether you like JoJo Siwa or not, right? Let's put that to the side. I think that every queer person should have community, whether that's an older person, a younger person. You need to have community. And the fact that even at a celebrity level, because JoJo Siwa is still relatively young, I think on a celebrity level, JoJo Siwa having Chrishell and Chrishell's partner G-Flip there as sort of these mature sibling types, I think is very cute and adorable. And I love the fact that Chrishell is helping JoJo Siwa sell her home. Might not be the most fascinating thing to you, but as the queer black man in the room, I appreciated the moment. We also have the hedge storyline between the twins. Basically, the hedges are too high and they are very cutely debating on whether they should have the hedges or not, or whether they should trim the hedges or not. You need it. We have to laugh during Selling Sunset. I feel like since Christine Quinn left, we don't have many of these random comedic moments, and I want more of the twins in the show in a comedic role. I love how they call each other buddy. They have a very sweet relationship. I like those men. Shout out to Jason and Brett. Now, the reason why we're all here today, Amanda's GirlsGiving at Norma. Y'all sit down and grab y'all a snack because we gotta sit down and go to Amanda's GirlsGiving at Norma. Shout out to Amanda, right? Because every cast needs to have what is called a Cynthia Bailey character. If you don't watch Real Housewives of Atlanta, it's okay. Let me say this. Cynthia Bailey on Real Housewives of Atlanta is normally the neutral character that brings both sides of the factions together. So when there's big beef between two groups of castmates on Real Housewives of Atlanta, Cynthia always throws an event to kind of get everybody in the same place. And right now, Amanda is doing her big Cynthia Bailey. She's doing her big Bailey one. Go ahead, Amanda. Amanda is like, y'all, there's beef between everyone in the office. You know, let's have a moment where we put everything to the side, enjoy some good food, have some drinks, and let it be known, I did notice the drinks were definitely flowing this night. That she wants to get the girls together, and I appreciated that. It should also be mentioned that this was the first group dinner of the season. I also want to point out, just because my memory is kicking in, around the time, this is the beginning of the season, so around this time, I know Chrishell was putting out in the media that she was not trying to come back to work unless Nicole was hitting the trash can. I very vividly remember that. So I wonder how production was able to convince Chrishell to sit down for Amanda's GirlsGiving dinner, especially when you look at it all and notice that Bree and Chelsea were both able to get out of it, which thank God for both of them. Who knows how left the night would have gone had they have arrived. I also want to point out how similarly Mary and Nicole are dressed in their black lacy numbers. They both look cute. They both looked beautiful. But I think for me, it just really painted the picture of, at least in my imagination, I don't know if this is real or not, but I imagine before the cameras came in, Mary, Nicole, Christine Quinn, I see now the three of them hanging out, especially now that Nicole's blonde. I see the three blonde women hanging. That friendship between the three of them, if they were close like that, I see that. And it really painted the picture for me in this scene. Y'all, the night was going fine. Everybody was there except for Bree and Chelsea. Everything was fine. Amanda's friends are there. Everything is going great. Sweet dandy. You know, on reality TV, when there's a group scene, there's always got to be some sort of activity. And I knew from the moment it was brought up, let's write things that we're grateful for down on these cards. Y'all, I knew it was going left. I didn't know how left. I didn't know it was going to be all the way around the corner left. Everyone wrote down the things that they were grateful for, pass it around, and then it was like we choose at random and then try to guess who wrote which note. We had a few cute ones. Oh, my friends. Oh, my family. Chrishell and Emma. And then Chrishell opens up her card, and her card is saying my eyesight. Everyone's like, oh my God, Mary, you had bad LASIK. And Mary's like, oh, no, it's not me. And then Nicole reveals that it's her card. And I'll say in this moment, Chrishell was very much giving me, because I feel like after 9 seasons, Chrishell is so aware of production and how the show works. And, you know, I know Chrishell be watching Bravo too, girl. So you know when you see a good setup, girl. Immediately, Chrishell was like, did y'all do this? Did y'all plan this? Like, who did this? Because y'all being messy. Like, it very much was giving that. And so Nicole starts to tell the story about how, I guess in the past or earlier in the year or recently, she had an eye injury, which caused her to be blind for 24 hours. It was very scary for her. And so she was grateful for her eyesight. Somewhere in between telling the story, Chrishell was a little confused. She didn't understand. And then the editing was making it seem like Nicole was going on and on and on and on and on. And so Chrishell was like, okay, you're grateful for your eyesight. Let's move on. Now, Chrishell, why you ain't let that lady have her moment? Y'all, the fan was turned on. Level 10. And the caca hit the fan. period. Because from that point on, Amanda's friend was like, oh, I'm sensing some heaviness. Amanda's friend, why you being messy? Production told you to be messy tonight. Amanda's friend was like, oh, I'm feeling the heaviness. And Chrishell, y'all, I'm gonna tell you right now, and it's something I appreciate about Chrishell. Chrishell don't mince no words. Chrishell was like, well, girl, it's heavy. Well, did you hear what Nicole said about Emma? Now, all of a sudden, Nicole and Emma is getting into it. Now, Chrishell and Nicole is getting into it. Bickering. Back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And I can see that there are just some people in this world that really get you out of character and take you to another place. And I will 100% say, as someone that has watched Selling Sunset since day one, Nicole and Chrishell both probably take each other to a whole nother place. You never saw Chrishell ready to ride like this when Christine was saying she had dementia back in season 1. When Christine had the little Jamaica vacation braids. You know, y'all remember when Christine had the little vacation Jamaica braids and she was like, maybe she had dementia. There was nothing funny about that moment in terms of the context, but Chrishell, season 9 Chrishell would have cursed Christine Quinn out back in, if that comment would have happened today. Oh my God. So I knew watching the scene as it was ramping up, Chrishell was getting deeper and deeper and deeper into her anger and her bag, and Nicole was shaking that Claudia Jordan bob left and right, and you could just tell it was getting more aggressive. During all of this, Amanda is trying to shush Nicole. Everyone's arguing back and forth, and Amanda is trying to shush Nicole. And the reason why is because at the end of the day, Amanda feels like Nicole was wrong. It was wrong of Nicole to bring the rumor to camera. It was wrong of Nicole to not, even off camera, check with Emma to make sure that the rumor was true. They could have set up the scene, right, in a way where it was brought to the group and Emma had all of her receipts ready to, you know, dispute the facts or dispute the rumor or whatever the allegations were. And they all, as a group, kind of agreed that Nicole went about it the wrong way. And I'll say this, Amanda was fair. Amanda turns to Team Chrishell over on this side and was like, you know what? It was really messed up, you know, that you guys were saying really awful things about her as well. And then Chrishell says, even if it's true, you guys remember Chrishell don't call Nicole a crackhead, says she was on drugs, this, that, and the third. I mean, Chrishell has really taken it there, but Nicole has also taken it there as well. And when Chrishell says, what if it's true, even if it's true, this is where the season takes a turn. Nicole looks dead at Chrishell and was like,
even if it was on. Honey, you're confusing me with your parents, okay? You seem to be
Velvet died.
the whole room erupts. Everybody is upset. There's chaos. Everyone yelling at Nicole, get out, Nicole, get out, get out. Emma, get out, get out. Amanda's like this close in her face. You need to get out. You need to leave. It was very much that energy. Everyone was trying to put her out. Even Mary, her friend of over a decade. Mary was like, oh my God, girl. You know, Mary be trying to stay out of it, girl. Mary trying to be Alana, just trying to get the check, girl. And Mary was even like trying to get in there like, no, what you said was awful. And the reason why it was terrible, you guys, is because Chrishell's parents are no longer here with us. And so to talk about someone's deceased parents in that way, everyone felt disgusted. And Chrishell even was gagged. Chrishell was speechless. Normally, Chrishell would have probably went for the jugular, but I think if I were Chrishell, I would not have said anything at all as well. I think I would have done what Chrishell had did, which was she got up and she exited to the left. She went to the bathroom with the girls following behind her to support her. And the reason why I would have done it, I can't quote Chrishell, right? But the reason why I would have done it is because as someone that has lost a parent this year, at that point, when you go for someone's deceased family, deceased anybody, parents in general, parents, children, what have you, young children, what have you, how much lower can you go? How much lower can you go? Girl, when this comes out, this is what I'm thinking. Girl, when this comes out, you are going to look so ugly, so terrible, so disgusting, so just, oh my God. Girl, much like Regina George, Nicole walked in front of a bus. Nicole walked in front of a bus. And so Nicole and Amanda are now going at it. Back and forth, back and forth. And the reason why is because Nicole feels like, well, what am I supposed to do? Am I supposed to sit here for 2 and 3 and 4 seasons and have these people say that I am a user and saying that I'm a crackhead and saying all these negative things about me that will in turn affect my business in the big picture? And Amanda was kind of like, toughen up, cookie. And on top of that, Amanda then says, well, girl, you're making a big deal out of this, and it's true. You have used before. And Nicole is like, no, I haven't. And Amanda is like, girl, cut it. Stop it. You are lying. You have used in the past. You did almost, use too much. And now you don't use anymore. And Amanda, at one point, after she walks away from Nicole, is like, the reason why I know that Nicole was using is because I was doing it with her. Yeah, we were young. I can't tell you which dates it was because, girl, I was so messed up. But let me tell you, yeah, we were partying, girl. Yeah, we were having a good old time. Hey, let me tell you something. Let me tell you something.
Let me tell you something. All right. Let me tell you something.
The number one trait of a good reality TV star to me is someone that 100% lives in their truth. And to me, since season 1, Amanda has she's given so much of her life on those early seasons that I've really come to respect how open she is. Because, I mean, we have some stuff that we would just never want on TV. We would never want people having their critiques online about, speaking about it online on YouTube. And Amanda just always puts it out there. And I always really respect the fact that we're supposed to follow her reality. And Amanda, from what we can see and from what I've sensed, has always been like, well, here it is. So I really appreciated Amanda in that moment. The episode ends with Nicole walking out, her Claudia Jordan blonde bob swinging from left to right, and the villainous music is playing. All right, episode 3 begins with Chrishell and Amanda. They are looking at a home, and of course they begin to sort of unpack GirlsGiving, and Amanda is pissed. She's pissed that Nicole is so hard-headed, and the fact that she shows no remorse. It's upsetting, especially when you think about someone that you've known for so long being so evil. It almost might feel like you don't even know that person, right? And so I think that maybe Amanda is experiencing some of those things because it's crazy to be around someone for so long and then you just see them seemingly act so out of character. And it's like, girl, I didn't even know that kind of darkness was in you, girl. Chrishell talks about how her parents actually did pass away, but not from drugs. And she vows to never talk to Nicole ever again, which, I mean, come on, y'all. It makes sense. What Nicole said was very mean-spirited and intentionally hurtful. In my opinion, as a viewer, Nicole knew how we, the fans, would perceive that comment when it made the final edit. And had Amanda and Chrishell not had this scene where Chrishell was explaining how her parents actually did pass away, we would be running with this narrative that Chrishell's parents passed away from using too much, and that's not the case. We slide on over to Chelsea, who is showing a home to Tyrese. Shout out to Chelsea and Tyrese. I love that we're seeing black celebrities on Selling Sunset. You know, we've already lost Selling Tampa. Let's blacken up Selling Sunset. Just my opinion as a viewer and a fan, just saying. And I felt like this scene was really important. Some of the home showing scenes can kind of be, let me go fold my laundry. But I love that in this scene, we sort of see how transformative Chelsea has come in her journey since her divorce. Something I've always really admired about Chelsea is how forthcoming and open she is about how much she loves her work. I have friends that are creators where you watch their videos and you just know that they love their work. And even on camera where she's being, you know, almost kind of like an exaggerated version of herself to an extent, you can still tell that Chelsea values and loves what she does for work. This was a great scene. I love to see positive Chelsea moments, especially after so much negativity in the last season. Y'all, this scene between Mary and Nicole made my head hurt so bad because it is so clear that Mary was the scene is set up in a way for Mary to offer Nicole a chance to show remorse. We had the scene previously with Chrishell and Amanda, and it's like, oh my God, there's no remorse, there's no remorse. And so Mary is sent, as the close friend of Nicole to sort of have this scene where they are discussing GirlsGiving and, don't you feel bad about what you said, Nicole? But you have some remorse, right, girl? And Nicole is like, girl, I'm done apologizing. Chrishell don't call me a crackhead. Chrishell done said I do drugs on camera, and I didn't want that information out there about me. It's up for her. I'm damned if I do, I'm damned if I don't. Mary, to me, is kind of like, girl, can't you just say sorry so we can move on? And Nicole is like, no, girl, I'm sitting up here in my Claudia Jordan blonde bob, and I'm not going to give any more sorries. And honestly, you guys, to be fair, initially I was kind of like, well, man, she can't just say sorry. But it's not like Chrishell was going to accept it. It's not like Chrishell was going to accept the sorry. Y'all, I cannot speak for Chrishell. Let me just put that out there. I cannot speak for Chrishell. It's not like her and I have discussed this. I'm saying based off of the context of watching Selling Sunset as a fan, Chrishell, the character, was not accepting Nicole, the character's apology, period, whatsoever. And so I could understand Nicole kind of being like, girl, what is the point? This lady been picking with me. We have issues. We've been going back and forth. Like, I'm not about to say sorry to her just because all of a sudden, things have escalated. Nicole was kind of like, well, girl, deal with it at this point. And hey, when you're a villain on reality TV and you're aware, it's different when you're unaware. If you're aware you're the villain, you might as well just lean into it and just be that. You get what I'm saying? And I felt like, well, I definitely ain't like what Nicole said at all. But I do appreciate her standing 10 toes on her bad statement. Because I feel like if you said it, you said it. I feel like even if Nicole did say that she felt sorry or she had some remorse, people were going to be on her neck regardless. So hey, and I want to be honest and transparent with you guys. I met Nicole previously at an event right after the first season she appeared on of Selling Sunset, and her and I had like a cute casual conversation as acquaintances that are literally meeting for the first time. I'm a big fan of the show, clearly. And I won't really say too much about what she said, but I'll say this. I told her that I was sorry she was having a rough time on the show. And because I'm a solution-based person and I always want what's best for the show, I told her, I said, Miss Nicole, you're like funny. Like you're like funny, goofy, like Nicole, funny, goofy, in my experience. Funny, goofy, silly. I said, why don't we see this? Like I was doing this. Like, why don't we see this on the show? And she was like, well, because, XYZ. And I said, well, think about it this way. Chrishell is the hero of the show. She is the protagonist of the show. She is the Red Ranger of the Power Rangers, right? It is not working in your favor, whether you feel she's right or wrong. It is not working in your favor to continuously battle with her. Why can't you find a way to let the focus be on your humor? And I wanted that for her so bad, because that when I met her that evening at the event, I thought she was funny. I've actually met Nicole maybe 2 or 3 times. And all 3 of those times, it was the basis of our conversations was me telling her, Nicole, show the people who you are because you funny as hell, girl. And her echoing the sentiment of, well, it doesn't really matter what I do because I'm going to get dragged by the fans regardless. So I could understand, and this was years ago, so I could understand years later, Nicole feeling like, girl, I'm tired. Girl, I'm tired. Where's my dog, girl? Mary, I hear you, but I ain't hearing you, girl. And have a good day, girl. Their lunch kind of ended, and it was kind of like a less agree to disagree kind of moment. Emma has an empanada event at Mel's Diner. It's a big deal. I believe Mel's Diner is featuring Emma's empanadas, which is a really big deal. Mel's is very famous in LA. You know, if you want a good late night eat, the girlies will definitely say let's stop at Mel's in Hollywood specifically. So it was a big deal for Emma to have her empanadas there. Chelsea walks in, says hi to everybody except for Mary. You know, they both, you know, in their confessionals are kind of like, you know, we don't like each other and it's fine. I didn't think it was that rude for Chelsea to not say hello. I kind of feel like if y'all are not, you know, really feeling each other, then, you know, why talk? But it appeared in that moment that Mary was really miffed by it. Like, she was very irritated by the fact that Chelsea did not come and say hello. It was rude. It was rude. But, like, also, you know, if we ain't messing with each other, we ain't messing with each other. We don't need pleasantries. Chrishell talks to Jason and is like, girl, I don't ever want to talk to Nicole ever again. Jason is like, okay, me and Brett are going to have a talk. We're going to talk to Nicole and we gonna figure it out. Mary goes to a tennis lesson with Bree and Jason's girlfriend, Jess, and kind of catches Bree up on the things that happened at GirlsGiving. If you don't remember, Bree and Chelsea, neither of them were there, so they were kind of out of the loop in the terms of, you know, the on-screen moment. And Bree was actually not on Nicole's side. You know, her and Chrishell are not cool, but she thought that Nicole going for Chrishell's parents, deceased parents, family in general was disgusting. And you know what, Bree? 10 points for you. Back at the office, Jason and Brett sit down with Nicole and they want to discuss what she said at the GirlsGiving to Chrishell. They are not happy. They are disgusted. They are upset with her. Nicole is trying to defend herself. She's not really taking much accountability. It's the same old tune. And at the end of it all, Jason says, girl, it's a wrap for you. We want you to leave the office. Nicole is like, I know y'all are not caving to Chrishell right now. I know that y'all have not known me over a decade. I done worked here for how long? I done brought y'all how much money and y'all are firing me over the young lady that started a reality TV show here? Don't worry, Nicole. I know that's what you wanted to say. But ultimately, Brett and Jason, they took her keys back. You know how on Real Housewives, even if you don't watch, in the intro of Real Housewives, they all hold like their like peach or diamond for Beverly Hills, champagne flute for Potomac. On Selling Sunset, in my imagination, they dangle keys. So it was in that moment that Jason snatched Nicole's keys back and she had to leave the office. That's it. Bye, girl. Episode 4, the boys tell the ladies of the office that Nicole is officially fired, and Chrishell and Chelsea and Emma all cheer, and they're all like, oh, thank God, ding dong, the witch is dead. And, you know, the boys are kind of like, you know, you ain't got to cheer. And the girl's like, yes, we do. I mean, even Mary kind of agreed that it was best for the office for Nicole to leave, and that says a lot. Chelsea is showing a home and Emma shows up and they start to discuss that Emma has, you know, linked back up with an old flame named Blake. Blake is a real estate heir and I believe his dad was partly responsible for the invention of microwavable popcorn. Most importantly though, Chrishell, her best friend, hates him. And I think it's interesting that Emma has these two friendship dynamics when it comes to Blake, right? Because Chrishell very openly hates Blake. It is no shocker to any of us that Chrishell is very displeased by Blake, but then you also have Chelsea, and we have these scenes with Chelsea and Emma throughout the season where Emma is able to lean on Chelsea a little bit more from what we can see, because Chelsea is just a little bit less judgmental about her feelings towards Blake. We, as the audience, get more of Chelsea's true feelings on Blake in the confessional. Like, she'll say that, you know, Blake shows red flags, but, you know, I'm not sleeping with him. Like, that's kind of like her MO on her feelings on Emma and Blake. So you have these two different dynamics, and it's interesting to see Emma try to navigate this whole entire situation with Blake, because I don't know, y'all. It's not looking good. Either way, Emma's gonna tell Chrishell that she's talking to Blake. We get a cute moment with Bree and her son and Mary, and they're riding horses, and Bree loves animals. And then Mary lets Bree know that Nicole has been let go from the office, which Bree is kind of like rolling her eyes at, like, of course. Bree even suggests that more people from the office should be fired and not just Nicole. And we already know that she means Chelsea. Emma, Chrishell, and Chelsea go out for drinks, and Blake is actually meeting up with them. And this is Blake's big moment to sort of impress Chrishell and, you know, Chelsea even, and the viewers, right? Because we are like the invisible third party, right? At the end of the day, we're going to choose some sort of side. We're either going to be Chrishell, mind your business, or Emma, you need to dump him. And so this was Blake's big moment, his big debut, and he reads very immature and wealthy. From a viewer standpoint, he's not very likable. He doesn't eat fruits or vegetables, which he's like proud of, and he's kind of crass. And I'll say this, he just seems like someone that if I were at the party, I would probably avoid him. Like, he just, like, it just didn't give great impression for the audience, I'll say. Chrishell was already over it, but she did give him a chance, and you could tell throughout the whole entire encounter, Chrishell actually would have preferred to actively vomit than sit there with Blake and Emma and Chelsea. She definitely doesn't hide her non-approval of Blake to Emma, and Emma's just kind of like, where do I go from here? Like, imagine you bring your new partner around your friends, the person you're dating around your friends, and after they leave, the first thing your best friends say is, so what do you have to say for yourself? Ooh, I know Emma was sick when Chrishell gave her that. So now we're cruising into episode 5, and we've now moved into the part of the timeline where there are the fires happening all over Los Angeles, California, those California wildfires. For context, I live in Los Angeles. Hi, everybody. Hi, I live in Los Angeles. That time period was so scary. You think about, like, as someone from the East Coast, you think about, like, rain and snow and stuff like that being dangerous, or, like, our natural disasters. And then you go from the East Coast and you move to the West Coast where there's like earthquakes and fires and heat advisories and all of that. Things get very scary and fast. And so we have the O group sort of reacting to the fires. You know, they're helping the community out. They're offering their services for free, which I actually really loved. And they're discussing their personal experiences with the fires and the office. You know, Mary's talking about someone that lost everything as she worked out of her home. I believe this person's name was Marie. She has a daughter and she used to be an assistant at the O group, where essentially she was working at her house. There were 2 fires and she only had time to leave with like her dog, the outfit she had on her back to get her daughters from school, and she has nothing left. I don't even know how I would have functioned if, you know, my apartment building burned down. I mean, this poor woman, I mean, even down to the bank, this woman's bank had burned down that had, like, you know, their safe in it. And you put all of your prized possessions in the safe at the bank and all of that burned down. And so it just was a very devastating time. Emma and Chrishell meet up for drinks. And of course, they start discussing Chrishell's favorite topic, which is Emma's boyfriend, Blake. They are going through a rough patch right now, actually. And the reason why is because Blake lives in Atlanta, Emma lives here in Los Angeles, and he seems to have some sort of issue with Emma being such a go-getter in her business. She's saying that every time she has to, like, you know, leave LA to go to like a listing or go to like a showing, you know, there's some sort of issue. And that's not good. That's actually very controlling. I feel like if you're in a relationship with someone that is a go-getter, someone that's ambitious, not only are these green flags, these are things that you should support as a partner. And I think that Chrishell was seeing it the way that I saw it. She straight up called him a douchebag. Chrishell don't mince no words. Chrishell was saying that she saw him in the future, like, isolating her away from her friends. Everyone knows that when you watch your friend be in a controlling kind of relationship or situation, the first thing that they're going to try to do is be their everything and then try to remove you and isolate you from your friends and your friend group. And so Chrishell was afraid of that happening. You know, they're very close, Chrishell and Emma. I think from a viewer perspective, I think it's fair and valid for Chrishell to be frustrated, because wouldn't you be frustrated watching someone you love be loved incorrectly? I know I would. Then we cut to the O group doing a donation drive in the OC, so we get to see some of our selling the OC agents. We have our Polly, we have our Geo, we have our Alex Hall popping in and out, and something that I actually really appreciated was the fact that Miss Heather from Selling Sunset, she went off to do her own thing with Tarek, and she came back in to sort of get the tea from Brie a little bit, and it was really nice seeing her. More cameos from people that used to be on the show. Heather, come back and see the girlies again. I enjoyed seeing you. The O group really put a huge effort into their donation drive. I mean, even the boys, Jason and Brett, they showed up with a whole Sprinter truck full of things to donate, and it was really nice to see how they have given back to the community in the way that they have. We jump into Emma coming in for a normal day at the office, and it's just Bree there with Jason, and Emma shows up with her brand new dog Jet that Blake has gotten for her, child. And even though things are awkward in the beginning because, you know, Emma and Bree are on opposite sides of, you know, the Nicole and Chrishell war, they do sort of find common ground talking about their situations as it relates to the fire. You know, Bree was afraid and Emma was afraid, but they both were afraid for different reasons. I mean, Emma wasn't even in town during the fire, so the fear of, or rather the helplessness of not being able to be in the area and have some control over your things, your home. Emma has lots of pets. I'm sure she was very afraid for her pets. Those are our family members. So, you know, I'm glad that they were able to find some sort of common ground, and it made the season feel this much lighter, which I liked. But the episode ends with Mary being robbed. There's a video sent out of 3 men basically hopping the fence and breaking into Mary's home. They ransacked the place. They went all up and through our girl's closets. They stole her jewels, her watches, and most importantly, her family heirlooms, which I thought was absolutely devastating. It really sucks when you have affluent reality TV personalities that work very hard. And with Mary, she works hard in the sense of putting her life out there for us to enjoy and consume, but she also works very hard as a real estate agent. We know that Mary is up at the O group selling them homes, period. And so it sucks to know that they've worked so hard for what they have, and to have someone that is just greedy and disgusting, thirsty, just go in and take. It was a sad way to end the episode. But that's how we wrapped it up. Episode 6 kind of marks a turn in the season for me, but we're gonna get into that right now. Emma, Chelsea, and Chrishell are meeting up for drinks, but Emma and Chelsea actually get there first, and they're discussing Chrishell's very open opinions about Blake, and Emma is expressing that she just wants to have a space where she feels safe with Chrishell, safe enough to talk about the good with Blake, and safe enough to talk about the bad with Blake, and she feels like Chrishell overall has just been very judgmental, whereas Chelsea has just been a listening ear to Emma, and even if she doesn't exactly love Blake, she keeps those comments to herself for the most part, and like I said previously, just sort of tells you and I in the confessional. Now, when Chrishell does arrive, things seem to get just a little bit tense because Chrishell brings up that her partner G-Flip has been working on music and that Emma actually inspired one of the songs. Now, the lyric that Emma inspired is, "There she is crying through your makeup because you know you're too good for him." And if I were Emma, I would have been like, ooh, my feelings might have been a little hurt, but you know how sensitive. You know, it's all in good fun. It's all in jest, but you can tell that, you know, Chrishell is chipping away at Emma a little bit. You know, Emma is almost kind of like, all right, Chrishell, like, all right. She doesn't say this, but you definitely feel that vibe in the scene, in my opinion. And Chrishell lets us know that she's only hard on Emma because she sees Blake as someone that is controlling, someone that is manipulative. I even think Chrishell mentioned that Blake tried to control who Emma was hanging out with and who Emma was posting on her social media. All of those things, red flags. Also in this conversation, Chrishell says that she's going to meet up with a new agent, Sandra, and then the topic of Mary's robbery comes up, and Chelsea just feels very bad for Mary in the situation. You know, they're not close, they're not friends, but Chelsea still has a lot of respect for Mary. You know, Mary's been there from the beginning of the O group, and Mary knows what she's talking about when it comes to that real estate. Chelsea says that she doesn't wish this situation on her worst enemy, and they also say, like, you know, Chelsea and Mary are not so far gone that they couldn't be in the same room together, and Chelsea kind of agrees. Chelsea seems very remorseful, and she says, you know what, I'm going to send Mary some flowers just to let her know that I'm thinking about her, and you guys, we're going to want to put a pin in that. Okay. Bree meets up with her sister Alexis and says that the office is worse than high school. And even though I'm glad that we're meeting Bree's sister and this is all fine and dandy, it's also dawning on me that Bree has to have these scenes with all of these like additional people and on the tennis court and all of that because she's not filming with the other half of the cast, which I think to an extent hurts the show a little bit. Now we meet the new agent, Sandra Vergara, who is related to Sofia Vergara. Sofia's mother actually adopted Sandra, so they're almost kind of like sisters. They have that sisterly relationship. We know that the Sofia Vergara is the hook, but I love the fact that she's a journalist, and we definitely see her put those journalist skills to good use. I love this montage of Sandra meeting all of the girls separately. So it goes from like one part of the lunch with Bree, another part of the lunch with Chrishell. Like she meets all of the girls and tries to give, from what we can see, all of the girls sort of like their equal shot with her, right? She meets up with Chrishell over drinks and she tells Chrishell that she interviewed her each week during Dancing with the Stars. Chrishell literally does not remember. Chrishell was explaining that her partner G-Flip uses they, them pronouns and that she also says that like it's okay if you mess up G's pronouns as long as you're not doing it with a negative intent. As long as you're not intentionally trying to hurt G or Chrishell, it's cool. Just try to be mindful. Chrishell does sort of spill the tea on Bree a little bit and says that she tends to be different off camera. And then Chrishell also confirms that Bree throws rocks and hides her hands. Oh, lordy, get into it. Now, Sandra and Bree go out to lunch and they discuss the relationships in the office and how Bree isn't really friends with too many of the ladies. She immediately goes into the beef with Chelsea and how she didn't approve of her relationship to Nick Cannon, which then opens the door to nosy Sandra asking about Mariah Carey. And then this is the moment when we see Bree really set her boundaries with Sandra. She's like, listen, there are a few things that I don't talk about, and that's religions, pronouns, and Mariah. And honestly, Bree, I can dig it. You better respect the diva when you see her. And then Bree also warns Sandra to be careful about what she says on camera, via text, just in general. And it sort of gives, be careful what you say, because you know the girls is going to spin it into something extra if you not. Sandra and Chelsea meet at a listing and they bond over having accents. And Sandra brings up the Bree drama to Chelsea. It almost kind of felt like she was trying to bait Chelsea into saying something messy or negative. But Chelsea really dismisses it as like nonsensical drama. Like, girl, we're here to work. I don't know you. Anyway, here's the foyer. You know what, you guys? Honestly, I really have to respect Sandra. There are two kinds of newbies in the Selling Sunset universe. There are those that kind of jump right into the action, and I feel like Sandra was kind of like that. Chelsea kind of jumped right into the action. But then we also have the other end of the spectrum, like an Alana. Alana made it very clear, I am here to work. The whole restaurant could be having a food fight. Alana is going to walk right out the front door and go and sell a home instead. She's not with any of the BS. And I kind of like that we have these two different personalities, these two different newer personalities entering the fold. I think I would have been a little bit like Sandra. Like, girl, give me the tea so I can get involved, girl. We're trying to get this camera time. I know that's right. So we circle back to Mary's house. She's there with Romaine. They're still trying to pick up the pieces from this burglary. Bree shows up to sort of be, you know, support for her good girlfriend. Mary takes her through the closet to show her all of the things that she's lost in this robbery. And then all of a sudden, Mary gets a flower delivery. And they're like, oh my God, beautiful flowers. How cute, how gorgeous. And then Mary reads the card. And can we take the pen out? If you remember, Chelsea, a few scenes back, you know, really felt bad for Mary. She felt, you know, that she wouldn't wish this on her worst enemy, this burglary. And she also mentioned that she wanted to send flowers to Mary just to sort of show her that, you know, I'm thinking of you. I'm standing in solidarity with you as women who are mothers that work at the O group. I felt that Chelsea sent the flowers in good faith. However, Mary got scary. Mary was furious. Let me explain to you why. Mary felt as though Chelsea's intention with the flowers were fake. And the reason why is because when the robbery first happened, I guess a bunch of the other ladies reached out with a text message, hey girl, thinking of you. Hey girl, I'm so sorry to hear about what happened, etc., etc. And Mary said she did not hear from Chelsea. And also, Mary feels as though Chelsea set up the flowers to be delivered on camera purposely. in order to gain favor with us, the audience. So Mary is feeling like if she receives this flower arrangement on camera and, you know, the audience is like, oh my God, Chelsea was so nice. We love Chelsea. We hate you, Mary. How could you do XYZ to our girl Chelsea? And Mary literally loses it. She's so angry. She doesn't even want to like finish like filming the scene with Bree. Bree takes the flowers and throws them away. And this is the moment where I started to go, oh. And the reason why is because I was just invited to an event at the O Group recently where I saw Mary and Romaine, and I asked her, I said, Mary, girl, how you feel about season 9? Are you excited? How excited are you about season 9? And Mary had replied, well, it's definitely a lot of drama in this one. And Mary, the second I saw Bree throw those flowers in the garbage, I said, oh, it's going there this season. And the reason why is because we have the contrast of Chelsea, to us, seemingly genuinely feeling bad for Mary about the robbery. But as we all know, our intent does not always equal how it's perceived. And that is a major theme here. Hi everybody, I'm editing right now and I can look and see and hear that my microphone has randomly decided to not work. I am so sorry, but I'm letting y'all know right now that I got into the rest of the Selling Sunset, but I wanted to let y'all know that it's not you, it's me. And next time, it will not be happening this way. Sorry, I love you. Okay, now we've entered episode 7 and we are right in the thick of this flowers debacle. So Sandra and Mary meet up while Mary is showing a home, and of course things are going swell. The two girls are getting along. They start to discuss the ladies, and Mary reveals that she didn't hear from Chelsea as it pertains to her robbery, but she did receive the flowers on camera. And Mary really wants to hammer home the fact that she feels like Chelsea's flowers are disingenuous. Mary feels like if Chelsea really wanted to do something thoughtful or really show that she cared about her in that situation, that she should have sent a text message instead. Me personally, I'm confused. Like, I feel like, what difference does it make? I guess that's my opinion. Like, what difference does it make? Like, whether she texted you privately or sent you flowers, whether they were even on camera or not, just the fact that she sent something, spent her money and did anything. I think I may have felt like, thank you, but I can't say if it was someone that I really passionately disliked that I would have accepted the gift in good faith. I don't know. It's a really difficult situation to be in because it almost kind of feels like if Mary really just doesn't like Chelsea, then she's almost like bullied into accepting the flowers by the fans because we saw that Chelsea was actually being genuine. But then if she accepts the flowers and really doesn't like Chelsea, it's gonna come out. Anyway, back at the office, Sandra meets the new ladies and has like a really weird moment with like Emma's phone going off while she's trying to say something. And then once again, Mary's robbery comes up again and Chelsea talks about how she sent flowers. And I noticed how Sandra was in the back of the office just sitting there like, oop, because she already knew that she had just spoken to Mary and Mary felt like Chelsea sending the flowers was an act of fakery. And we learned those two gals, they don't like fake. We then cut to Emma and Chelsea at Jason, the jeweler's, and we find out that Blake has proposed to Emma. Emma told him to get up, and then the girls kind of contemplate, like, okay, if Emma does wind up getting engaged to Blake, how is she going to tell Chrishell? Because as we know, Chrishell is very open about her disdain and her hatred for Blake as it pertains to him dating Emma. And so a lot of Emma just feeling conflicted about how, you know, she liked Blake and then Chrishell just didn't. And what am I going to do? A lot of that conversation. Chrishell shows Tinashe at home. She even gets my girl Tinashe to sing a little something something in the studio so she can hear the acoustics. We also get this random scene of Alana looking at a home just to remind us that this is what the show is about. Real estate. and selling homes. Chelsea shows up to check out the home with Alana, and once again, the situation involving Chelsea and the flowers comes up between her and Alana. Chelsea explains that she sent the flowers to Mary in good faith, and Alana herself even acknowledges that Chelsea just seems like a brighter, lighter, more positive person. Like this new era that she's in is just like a breath of fresh air. I wonder if at this point Chelsea realizes that the topic of her sending the flowers is going to come up in some big group setting. This is like the third time Chelsea has had to talk about these flowers, and I wonder if you realize when you're talking about something over and over and over again that you realize down the line it's gonna come up. It then cut to Mary checking out a home in the OC. The robbery has left her shaken, and rightfully so. She's very traumatized by all of this. She just wants a sense of peace. And so I guess the episode ends with us wondering, oh my God, will Mary leave LA for the OC or not? Oh no. Okay, so we jump right into episode 8 with Emma and Chrishell, and they're having this huge conversation once again about, you guessed it, Blake. Emma tells Chrishell that Blake proposed, but she broke it off with him instead. He was drunk. It wasn't exactly the engagement of her dreams, and Chrishell was very much giving, rightfully so. Chrishell reveals that her big fear was that in addition to Blake isolating Emma from her friends, she was afraid that Emma was going to get pregnant with his child, and then once you get locked down with a baby, you guys already know, it is a snack wrap. So Chrishell, I think, in that moment was just relieved that it didn't seem like Emma and Blake were going to go the full distance. I mean, hey, at the end of the day, Chrishell just wanted Emma to date someone that she could be proud of. You should not be embarrassed to bring your partner, your spouse, boyfriend, girlfriend, whoever, around anything or anyone. This is someone that you should be lifting up and like, oh my God, I cannot wait for you to meet them, da, da, da. It shouldn't be like, well, you guys know how he is. Well, you know how that blanket, like it shouldn't be like that. And I think that Chrishell was just trying to get that point across, but through the lens of tough love. We're back at the office with Jason and Mary, and because Mary has lost so much in her robbery, Jason gifts her 2 Rolexes. I'm over here like, Jason, you got an extra Rolex for me? And he also offers to buy Mary some therapy, which I think is very important. When we go through something traumatic, we may feel as though we've healed right away after it, a month after it, 6 months after. No, you need some therapy. Get you some therapy and talk about it. So I think that Jason was being a real friend to Mary by saying that he would, support her mental health journey in that way. And during that moment, Mary reveals that her tolerance for BS is just very low. She's very on edge, especially since the robbery, when you just feel taken advantage of in that way, when someone jumps over the fence, breaks into your home, and takes the most valuable things that you have worked so hard for. Mary was very much feeling like, I ain't got time for the BS. And I could kind of understand that. Now, here we go. Jason wants to throw a dinner to welcome Sandra to the office. And you guys, the fan was turning, and that caca hit the fan. The girls all arrive to dinner. Mary's robbery is brought up again. Mary is almost kind of like apologizing for, being emotional over it. And I think that in this particular moment, Mary and Chelsea share like a very sweet moment.
You don't come from money. You've worked for every single dollar you have. That stuff is important to you. So it's okay to grieve of the stuff that you've lost.
Chelsea is raising Mary up and also reminding her of her humanity to me. She was saying, you don't have to be strong in this moment. Bro, you've worked so incredibly hard. You were a single mother for a period of time. Thankfully, you found Romaine. You've been through so much, and it's okay to feel grief over the things that you've lost. When you work hard for something and you look forward to something and you put in that work to reach that goal and all of a sudden it's snatched from you, it's okay to feel the grief behind that. And she, allows Mary and gives Mary that permission to really feel how she feels about it. And it's almost like in this moment, and I'm not speaking for Mary, I'm just going off of what I saw on the show. It almost kind of gives in that moment, the camera cuts to Mary, and I wonder if Mary is thinking in that moment, oh, maybe maybe there is a certain level of respect that I didn't realize was there before. Because from Mary's point of view, all Mary is thinking about is how a couple weeks back, we was at Mel's Mel's drive-in for Emma Empanada's event, and you snubbed me. You ignored me. I did not exist to you in your orbit. Remember that? And Chelsea, you did have the confessional where you were like, you know what, I'm not even thinking about Mary too much. But tragedy, negative circumstance, I'm also thinking about the fires. All of those things have the ability, not saying it did happen, but all of those things have the ability to remind one or us in general as a people that honestly, life is too damn short. Life is too damn short. House could burn down tomorrow. House could get robbed tomorrow. Life could be gone tomorrow. Maybe Chelsea was operating with those things in mind when she sent the flowers, when she's discussing Mary's robbery. Maybe those things come to mind, and maybe that is why Chelsea decided to use Mary's robbery as a way, even if it wasn't meant to be this, it could have led to some sort of reconciliation. I took it as Chelsea almost kind of extending an olive branch, because I know if I don't like nobody, I ain't sending them nothing that costs money. And I think that Chelsea genuinely felt like, wow, just on a human level, that sucks. Thinking about you. Y'all, Jason gives a toast and says that, they're all there to support Mary. They welcome Sandra to the team. They go back to talking about Mary, and then Sandra sets it off, y'all. Sandra goes on to say, we're all here for you, and I hope you've gotten kindness. Which then, of course, leads Mary to say, well, I've gotten texts from almost everyone. And then the editing gets a little choppy, because then Mary was like, yeah. I got flowers from Chelsea. But the way that Mary starts that sentence off leads me to believe that someone asked her.
Even Chelsea sent flowers, yeah.
What do you mean by everyone? Or was there someone that sent you something? Or Chelsea, you reached out, didn't you? Like maybe someone asked Chelsea, you reached out, didn't you? Because Mary is like, yeah. Chelsea sent me flowers. And then Mary knows that she has one of two options, right? Even though you just had the sweet moment with Chelsea and you may be feeling like, oh, maybe she is genuine or more genuine than I thought, you have the option of saying nothing, right? Because Mary may be feeling like, oh, well, maybe she is more genuine than I thought. Let me not say nothing and set it off like Queen Latifah. Or you gotta stand on it, right? And the reason why you need to stand on it is because in the context of the show, Mary, you were upset about the flowers. And two, you were so upset about the flowers that you went on to say that you wished Chelsea would have taken a different approach once with Sandra. And I think she said it again to Jason. Maybe I'm making that up. We know that Mary brought it up past her throwing out the flowers. So she knows that if she doesn't stand on business, that gives Sandra, the journalist / new producer in my mind, that gives Sandra the license, which she does not have, to step up and say, well, girl, you told me that you thought Chelsea was being fake by sending the flowers. And now it's really, let's get ready to rumble. Do you know what I'm saying? So Mary had to, she gulped that drink. Mary gulped that drink. She swallowed that drink and was like, you know what? And Chelsea, I do feel like it was a little bit disingenuous.
I'm a bit confused at why you sent them, and I don't feel that they were exactly genuine, because you haven't exactly been nice to me this year.
Ooh, girl. Y'all, I gotta keep it real. I don't have no issue with Mary at all whatsoever. In fact, Mary and Romaine have, the entire cast of Selling Sunset that I've met, they've all been very kind to me. But when I say Chelsea cleared Mary like dinner was over, cleared Mary like put those dishes in the sink, cleared Mary Like, oh no, girl, just take your fork and scrape that out in the garbage can. Clean your plate. Chelsea cleared Mary so bad that Jason and Brett had to cut. Bravo, bravo, bravo. Bravo, bravo, bravo. And I'm not mad at it. I'm not mad at it. Let's break it down. Mary goes into, she's confused as to why Chelsea sent the flowers. She feels they weren't really genuine and she was upset specifically that Chelsea did not send a private text the way that everyone else did. And rightfully so, she was pissed. When she heard that what Mary had gone through in general, but also as a mother who is now single, she thought that it would be a kind gesture to send the flowers. Chelsea was like, girl, if I really wanted to make a moment, girl, I would have sent some 2,500, these last forever moments. She said, I would have sent the $1,000 wabam or whatever Chelsea said. She said, I would have sent the wabam. I was like, okay, Chelsea, get her real quick.
I think I care about some camera time, especially not of sending you flowers. Otherwise, I would have sent $2,000 flowers and said, well, bam.
I really enjoyed the fact that Chelsea made it clear to Mary, like, girl, I'm not even your op. You got your own stuff going on that's negative in your life in terms of the robbery and the things that you lost. I'm not one of those negative things on your plate. I actually was just being genuine and decided, wow, I feel sorry for her as a coworker, as a human, as somebody that I know even. Let's even break it down to a basic level. Somebody I know that's in my orbit that I'm going to have to be on camera. But let me go ahead and send her something to just say, you know what? I'm thinking about you and I'm sorry that happened to you. And you know what? I also have to be on the train of thought of like Mary's idea of Chelsea wanting to be on camera or wanting extra camera time. Because I think that really set Chelsea off. Chelsea was like, girl, they're going to catch my face regardless. She was like, do you think I care about these cameras? And I mean, I really had to be on board with that. Chelsea was almost the entire focus of the entire last season. Why would Chelsea even want more camera time? She was already the focus. And sometimes when you're the focus on a reality show, that's not even a good thing. Because people just too many opinions about you. So Chelsea was right in that regard. And basically, she cleared Mary. So much so that both Jason and Brett had to call her bravo, bravo, bravo. They was like yelling, cut. Cameras down, cameras down. And Chelsea was like, oh, now y'all want cameras down. When it's making Mary look bad, now y'all want cameras down. But when it's me and my divorce, oh girl, cameras up. When it's time for Bree and racist Amanda, oh, it's cameras up. But now that Mary is looking crazy, based off of what we saw, now y'all want to close the scene out. Chelsea wasn't feeling that. As a viewer, it didn't look good. That part of it. Because they was trying to get Mary up out of there, y'all. They was trying to sling Mary over their back. Mary, let's get out of here. Not Mary's finest hour. Although I understand not wanting to believe someone is being genuine, I do believe in reality TV rules. There has to come to a point where you just say, okay, you got it. Housewives, eventually, there comes a point where like, yeah, you read me down and I read you down, but you got it. And we move on. One of the issues for Selling Sunset as a show as a whole is that many, if not all of the ladies, seem to have an inability to play the game, play ball a little bit, and just move on so that we, the fans, can continue to get more group dinners, more group scenes, group trips, etc. We're almost kind of like watching the Simple Life season where Paris and Nicole were wives and like half the show was Paris over here and the other half of the show was Nicole over here. It's very much giving that right now, and I need Amanda to bring them all back together. Okay, so jumping into episode 9, we have Mary and Jason. They meet up, and Mary is adamant about the fact that she feels that Chelsea sent these flowers in bad faith in an attempt to get more camera time and sort of appeal to the public. She also says that Chelsea called herself a struggling single mother, which I didn't take that sentiment away from her comments. I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, I think that Chelsea was sort of saying that, they both are mothers. Chelsea is now a single mother. Mary was at one point, and I think that Chelsea was just saying that since she split from her very wealthy ex-husband, as Mary put it, she understands the value of a dollar even more, and I think that that realization can happen whether you are someone that comes from money or not. Just because Chelsea is divorced and she's on a television show doesn't mean that there aren't other problems, both financial and not, that come with having money, if that makes sense. I don't know. I felt that that comment in particular and Mary's confessional after, not a good look. In my opinion. Just my opinion. She's still very heated and she's still very rattled by that whole entire exchange at the dinner for Sandra. Back at the office, Bree is doing a Valentine's Day. She has these men come in and sing in order to invite all of the ladies. And it seems like Chrishell and Emma and Chelsea will not be appearing, but Miss Sandra was gonna be there. There's a cute moment with Chrishell and her partner G Flip where they're discussing children, and G wants to potentially raise children in Australia, and Chrishell is still working through that. They're both working through that decision together because although G is from Australia, Chrishell's family, friends, job, career, the Selling Sunset show, all those things are in America. So it's a decision that I believe Chrishell said in her confessional. It's a decision that the both of them will have to discuss and figure out. But I also believe in this episode, this is where we found out that Chrishell and G had actually found a donor. So they actually can continue to expand their family, which I thought was beautiful and a story that needed to be told on a global television show like Selling Sunset. So I want to go ahead and take this moment to send all of my positive energy and good luck to both Chrishell and G as they work to sort of grow their family. I feel like Chrishell and G, they're both successful. They both have found love within each other. And I hope that they're able to expand that love with a family, with children, etc. So we hop, skip, and jump over to Hermosa Beach with Chelsea, and she is showing Sandra a home. And things sort of seem to be okay for the first moment of the interaction, but then Sandra and Chelsea start to get into the invitation of Bree's Valentine's Day. So Bree invited everybody in the office. So all of the ladies had an opportunity to show up at the event, but Chelsea reveals to Sandra that, even if she didn't have a previous engagement, like Chelsea has a legit reason as to why she didn't want to be there. She says that, she's being very intentional with her energy, and it doesn't make sense for her to be in a place where there's tension. And she also doesn't want to ruin the event. She doesn't want to ruin everyone else's time because once you show up with your op and it's on camera on reality TV, it's going to magically happen so that there's conflict, so that there's friction, so that there's tension. I'm sure the ladies, to an extent, know that they're filming some sort of finale or maybe that final shoot is coming up. And the last thing that they wanted after Chelsea clearing Mary at the table, Nicole showing her behind at Amanda's event. I'm sure the last thing that that Chelsea wanted was to then go into another event where she was going to potentially be painted as fake, not genuine, etc. Then we had Sandra. Sandra told Chelsea that she thought it was mean that she was declining the invitation to Bree's Valentine's Day, and Chelsea kind of shut it on down and told Sandra to mind her business. That it's not Chelsea's responsibility to sort of show her why her perspective is the way that it is or to explain events that are leading her to this decision, especially when those events happened and you wasn't even here, girl. That's basically what Chelsea was saying. Like, girl, you want us to get into this lore, and girl, you wasn't even here. If you want to know how it went down, girl, watch the show. Girl, it's 9 seasons. Get caught up, So Sandra was like, oh, no, I'm not trying to be nosy. I'm not trying to be nosy. Sandra, we know you're the journalist, girl. We know you're the journalist, and you doing your job. You doing your job, Sandra. But Chelsea's not new to this. Chelsea's not new to this, and she's true to this. And much like Chrishell, she keeps it real. She's going to say it full out, and they were able to continue the showing without getting into any more office politics, if you will. This episode to me felt like part 1 of the finale, and part 2 is the next episode because we're sort of left in limbo with Mary throwing these thoughts out there that she may leave the office if other people don't leave Chelsea, and so we will get to that conclusion right now in episode 10. Now, Mary, Alana, Sandra and Bree all meet up at a home. Obviously, they're looking at the home, child. And Sandra tells Bree what Chelsea said about her not wanting to go to the party. She doesn't want to ruin the Valentine's Day. And we already know Bree was going to have, the reaction of like, so who cares? I don't need anybody. My day ones are going to be there. Blah, blah, blah. Like Bree is doing the Bree. Then we move over to Chelsea and Emma, and they're getting manis and petties, and they both looked beautiful in this scene. Just wanted to make a note on that. And Emma is telling Chelsea that she revealed to Chrishell that she broke things off with Blake. Chelsea is not believing that things are really over between Emma and Blake. And Emma herself even reveals that she's the kind of person that is going to give second, third, fourth, fifth chances. So maybe Chelsea's not wrong. Also in the scene, Chelsea explains to Emma why she doesn't want to go to the Valentine's Day thing that Bree is throwing. She just doesn't want to get into it. She was like, you saw what happened to Mary. Carry Mary out stage left, girl. And you know what, Chelsea? Good for you. Because, anytime Chelsea decides to raise her voice or really get into it or really go toe-to-toe with the other ladies in a verbal spar, she's always painted as the angry black woman, which is very annoying. And it's something that black people in TV, especially reality, have to deal with. We always have to be cognizant of how we come off because it's very easy to be like, oh my God, she was being so aggressive. She was being so mean. Oh my God. And I hate stuff like that. It actually drives me up the wall. Okay, so then we cut to Bree, Sandra, and Mary. And this scene is to set up this random storyline of Sandra believing Chrishell doesn't like her for some reason, or she feels like she spent all this time with the other agents, and for whatever reason, her and Chrishell just aren't as close, and Chrishell makes a face whenever she talks. And then Sandra then spills the tea and says that Chrishell told her that Bree's, real nice on camera only, which of course is like her stirring up stuff between Chrishell and Bree. And I'm like, Sandra, you messy. You're giving real messy. And I think that you like it because you on TV. It's giving mess. Bam. So then we cut to Sandra and Chrishell. They're at a listing. Everything seems to be fine. Chrishell is showing Sandra the house, and then all of a sudden Sandra's like, girl, do we have beef? Do we have an issue? Because I feel like it's cold between us. And Chrishell is like, girl, I'm here to work. I'm not here to make friends. I'm here to get this job done and get this commission because I may need to move to Australia and raise this family. Like, girl, we don't even have time for this. We literally do not have time for this. And so Sandra continues to press the issue and press the issue and press the issue. And so all of a sudden, Chrishell was like, oh, you really want to go there? Oh, you really want to do this? She crosses the room and digs in her bag. She digs in her purse. Chrishell starts digging in her bag, and she comes back over with an ID, and she's like, do you know this person? And Sandra is like, no, I don't know that person. And Chrishell is like, oh, well, this person used to live in your building, girl. And she said that you keyed her car. And Sandra's like, what is going on? Da, 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 da. And Chrishell is like, oh, yeah, I got your tea, Miss Thing. Yeah, I got your tea. So don't be acting like I'm out here being mean when it's just me being careful, because I don't know who you are and what you're capable of. And Chrishell know that she worked hard for her money and she don't want her car keyed either. Okay, she was like, I don't know these hooligans Adam DeMello brought up on this television show. So we're not gonna be fast friends. We're not here to be friends. First of all, Chrishell straight up told her, girl, how about you go to work first? How about you put in some work first? You know what, Tony the Tiger? How about you earn some stripes first? And then maybe we can see what will unfold. Because right now, the rest is looking real unwritten right now. I'm out here showing you, I'm trying to really show you how to do it as a woman that's making money in this field. And now that we're in front of these cameras, you're trying to set me up to make it look like I'm a mean girl, to make it look like I'm a bully. Sandra, Miss Sandra, don't do that. You playing out of Nicole's book right now. You're playing out of Nicole's book right now. This Chrishell is the protagonist. Yes, you're allowed to beef with her. Yes, you're allowed to have issues with her. But if it's real, we need you to have a real legitimate reason to be beefing with Chrishell. Otherwise, it's gonna be looking like Nicole. That's just how I perceive it as an audience member. So that meeting definitely left a bad taste in Sandra's mouth, because then when she meets up with Amanda and Mary right after, she spills the beans and tells not like a hyped up version of what happened, but she was very much making it seem like Chrishell was the aggressor when Sandra was the one, from where I sit, setting up the scene both scenes, the prior and the scene with Chrishell, to make it seem like Chrishell had been like not warm to her, or like she had to be warm to her. Girl, we're at work. We're at work. Man, we're not braiding hair and having snacks at the slumber party at the listing. We also get a temperature check on Mary and whether her and Chelsea will be able to have some sort of reconciliation. Mary is not here for it at all. She is so over the situation with Chelsea. She doesn't want to be in the same room with Chelsea. She don't want to see her, speak to her. None of that at all. Okay, so now we get to the Valentine's Day. You know, Bree is over the top, extravagant. You know, she's got the worker, she's got the doctor doing the salmon fluid, Botox injection moments. You know, we've got a long dinner table, and as the ladies arrive, you know, they're looking at all the place settings. And so Mary is looking at all of, you know, the names on the table, and then she sees Chelsea's name on the table. And she believes that Chelsea is going to show up or like do some sort of pop-up or be involved with the event, even though her and Brie are not on good terms, even though it was already kind of like, to me anyway, as an audience member, I thought it was pretty understood that Chelsea, Emma, and Chrishell would not be there. But Mary, girl, she saw Chelsea's name up there, y'all, and you would have thought that Michael Myers himself walked up into Bree's Valentine's Day party. It was so much for our girl Mary that Mary needed to go in the corner. She needed to sit. She needed to catch her breath like Destiny's Child. She had to let a couple tears fall. And it was like,
I'm not going to be around her.
Fine.
Oh, hi.
What's happening?
I'm sorry. I just saw Chelsea's name and it just fucking freaked me out.
Mary. What is going on here? And it's not looking good. You mean to tell me the sight of Chelsea's name written on a name card prompts you to cry? As a Black person, I did not like this scene. I didn't like it. I have to be honest. On my platform, this does not reflect the opinions of Netflix or any of the Selling Sunset people. This is CourtneyRevolution opinion. I did not like that scene at all, because I think it perpetuates the stereotype that Black people are angry and aggressive, big baddies, or like we're out to get you. Mary, you know ain't nothing was really gonna go down if Chelsea were to show up besides the same old on the season finale. Someone's gonna have to hash out something. There may be some sort of heated moment. Someone will storm out. Y'all will get the check and go home. Mary's crying. She's on 10, doing the most, acting like Michael Jackson Ghost just moonwalked into the event. Bree has to come over and calm her down. And meanwhile, on the opposite side plot, Emma, Chrishell, and Chelsea having a beautiful Valentine's Day of their own, toasting to their drinks, saying how they're not going to let the office drama affect them. They're at like the height of their careers. They're selling these homes. Chelsea's doing her big one. You know, Emma's got, you know, Blake in the background, but we ain't paying him no mind, girl, because we out here, we're selling these homes. And it seems as though on the opposite side, you know, over at Camp Bree, they're also kind of having like similar conversations. You know, they're not going to let the drama run them out of the office. Bree wants to draw a complete line in the sand and just be like, you know what, we're not messing with them. They stay over there, we stay over here. The ending of the show just kind of concludes with Team Chrishell saying, we're getting the money regardless, and Team Bree on the opposite side being like, we're not messing with them at all. Bree has this conversation with Mary because, you know, Mary is trying to leave, y'all. That has been like this plot line woven in after Mary's robbery, is that Mary is contemplating leaving LA completely because she feels unsafe. She feels like she's a target. She is a public figure. You know, Selling Sunset is a very popular show. And Bree says something to the effect of, you know, I would hate for you to leave knowing that you were one of the women that started, you know, this whole entire O group thing, and you opened the door for the rest of these women, including Bree, to walk through it and do their thing and be on this global television show. And we sort of like end on this note, like, will Mary leave the O group? Nicole that moved to Nashville. We probably won't see her anymore. Something that I also would like to see explored next season is how does Alana navigate the two factions in the office? She went to Bree's Valentine's Day, didn't she, you guys? How did she make that decision between going to Bree's thing or going to Chrishell's dinner? We never really see her get put in the middle, and I'd like to see a situation arise where it's almost kind of like, are your morals more aligned with Bree and the gang, or are your morals more aligned with Chrishell? And eventually Alana has to choose. We don't want you to lose your keys, Alana. I'd like to see more from her. Yeah, Pioneer Town wasn't giving, but I think the situation I just pitched could be giving. Let's focus on something else outside of, Mary and Chelsea. Let's have Alana pull her way outside of actually selling homes on camera. Go ahead, Alana, with your bad self. And I guess my biggest question is, like, when Mary watches the show back, does she feel like maybe Chelsea was more genuine than she thought at the time that they were filming? I don't know. I mean, where are Chrishell and Emma and Blake today? I mean, I don't want to get into it, but Emma definitely commented on an Instagram post of mine. And when I went to check my notifications, I saw that Chrishell was dragging her in the comments. And then when I went to go look, everybody had deleted their comments. So I'm going to assume that Emma and Chrishell are not in a good place. Y'all, give me all of your thoughts in the comments. Is this one of the best seasons? One of the worst seasons of Selling Sunset? I actually enjoyed it. I just feel like right now Selling Sunset is a show that's in transition. We've got, people leaving, people coming in, lines drawn in the sand. We cannot have two shows going on at once. We cannot have like all of the Chrishell scenes over here and the Bree and all of that over there. There needs to be some sort of come to Jesus moment, or some people are going to have to leave, because at the end of the day, this show needs to do what's best for the fans. And as someone that's watched Bravo for more than enough time and a nauseating amount of time, I'm going to go ahead and tell you it's never good when someone's on an island, and it's never good when a show is separate into two camps. We're going to need the camps to keep coming together. We're going to need to keep working it out. I know that Bree had like a premiere party for Selling Sunset and the other ladies were not invited, and that's fine because the cameras were not up. But the second those cameras are up, and Chrishell, if you decide to sign a contract, and I would love to see you again, we need, not to say we need more moments like the dinner with Nicole, but we need more group scenes of y'all all together. Like, come on now. Adam, hi Adam DeVello. I know that you and your team are going to figure out a way. I don't know what you're going to do. I know who you're going to call, girl. But I know that y'all are going to figure it out. We need about 2 more Amanzas in there, people that are going to be able to float between the two camps and bring the group together. I don't know who you gonna find, girl, Ghostbusters, but you need to find it right now. Anyway, you guys, thank you so much for watching my Selling Sunset Season 9 review. If you've made it this far, please comment kitty cats are us in the comments right now, so I know you made it this far. Give this video a thumbs up, ring the notification bell, subscribe for more videos from me, and that's about it for me. Don't you forget that the world keeps spinning, and so shall you, and I shall see you next time. Bye.